Top 10 games at GenCon. Let's talk about it. So, for anyone that doesn't know what GenCon is, it is the biggest board game convention in North America. And it is going on from September 16th to 19th. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about my top 10 games that are going to be at GenCon. Unfortunately, I won't be there because I can't travel with my family right now. But these are the top 10 games that I found that are going to be at GenCon that hopefully you guys can check out. Or these games are going to be available later this year, or there's even one on my list that's going to be on Kickstarter later in October. Now with that out of the way, let's get right into the video. Alright, starting off with one that's getting a lot of traction already, that is Furnace, and it is being released on September 15th. It is an engine Euro game set in the 19th century where you are taking on the role as a capitalist building your industrial corporations to make the most amount of money as possible and extract resources. It plays 2 to 4 players and the game plays relatively quickly. It only takes place over 4 rounds, and in each round it contains 2 phases. Auction phase and a production phase. In the auction phase, players are bidding on cards, companies you are trying to purchase, and production phase is where you can use those actions on those cards to gain more resources. If you like engine building games, this is something you may want to demo at GenCon or pick up in stores. Number 9 on my list is going to be Merchants on the Dark Road. A 1 to 4 player game that plays roughly in 60 to 120 minutes. This game was on Kickstarter, but is now coming out to retail. You are collecting and producing items to add to your cavern, to sell the items to your local heroes, and to hire them to travel with you. You must manipulate the market prices of your items, visit the back alley sellers, or delve into nearby dungeons for magical items to gain even more rewards. Gather lanterns to ease your passage along the dark roads as you guide your cavern to distant villages, deliver the goods and heroes to the best destinations, and gain fame from your bravery. Great theme, great artwork. I highly recommend, if you didn't back this game on Kickstarter, to give it a demo at GenCon. It's going to be available in stores by the end of October. Next on my list, we're moving on to number 8, The Rocketeer Fate of the Future. A 2-player game where you can either play as the heroes or the villains. Players alternate turns until all 6 characters, 3 on each side, have taken actions and are exhausted. Then players gain the rewards based on the control of the locations and prepare for the new round. During the game, if you are playing as the villains, you are trying to steal the rocket's blueprints, and if you are the heroes, you must hide and keep them away from the villains. By the end of the game, whoever has the blueprints wins. Amazing artwork in this game. The box cover is super beautiful. I highly recommend, if you're into 2-player games or are looking for a 2-player game, to check this one out at GenCon. It will be coming out later this year. Now, number 7 on my list is One Deck Galaxy, a 1 to 2-player game. It is the newest game in the One Deck Dungeon lineup, but this one is in space. So if you're a fan of co-op games, if you're looking for a new civilization building game, check this one out. If you're a fan of One Deck Dungeon, then you're gonna love One Deck Galaxy. Now moving on to number 6, Juicy Fruit. The taste is gonna move ya. Let me know if you get that reference down in the comment section below. Anyways, Juicy Fruit is a 1 to 4 player light family set collection game where you are trying to end up with the most attractive island. Each player has their own small island paradise where you are trying to grow delicious fruit. In order to win, you must gain the most amount of points by cleverly supplying ships and by gaining the best businesses to your island. With each play of Juicy Fruit, it poses a new puzzle of how to move your tokens efficiently and how to balance clearing your island with claiming businesses. The game also includes a Juicy Factory mode and 4 modes of solo play. This one is already out and is gaining good reviews. If you're looking for a good new family game, try this fruity game out. Now my number 5 is a game that was also on Kickstarter but now hitting retail too. Mind Management. It is a 1 versus many movement type game for 1 to 5 players by Off the Page Games and is designed by Jay Cormier. Now Jay actually has a YouTube channel where he talks about how to start a board game company and his process for making this game. It's super helpful information for any designer to see the behind the scenes on how this game was made. I'll have it linked down below if you guys want to check his channel out. I highly recommend, if you're a game designer looking for helpful information, his channel is a great one. Now in this game, 1 player is working in the shadows trying to recruit 12 recruits or must survive the 16 turns without getting caught. The good guys win by working together and figuring out where the recruiter is and take him down. The artwork is a little weird in this game, but is based off the comics of Mind Management. The artist that worked on the comics is also the same artist that worked on the board game. I'm not a huge fan of hidden movement games, but this one I enjoyed a lot. I highly recommend, if you guys can, pick this one up at GenCon. If not, look for it in retail stores. It is a lot of fun to play. My number 4 on the list is Camel Up Off Season, coming out later this year. 3 to 5 players, and it is like Camel Up, but this one is its own standalone game. Each player has their own 4 camels that can carry goods. Instead of racing and bidding on what camel wins, you are collecting goods and bidding on those goods from the market. Each camel has a good limit that it can hold, and you need to sell the goods to gain more victory points. The strategy in this game is coins are used to purchase the goods, but they're also worth victory points. So you must find the correct balance in order to gain the goods and to have the most victory points at the end of the game. It's the off season, so you're not racing in this game. If you love bidding games, I highly recommend check this one out. If you're a fan of the previous Camel Up game, this might be for you. Number 3, Dinosaur World, a new standalone game that continues the success off Dinosaur Island for 2 to 4 players. You are building a dinosaur park, and in each round in Dinosaur World, you are drafting a new resume card to acquire new workers, spend workers to take public actions, build your park, and acquire DNA. Throughout the game, you may encounter a few deaths by the visitors. And at the end of the game, you lose points if you accumulate too many deaths. The player with the most amount of points wins. If you love dinosaur games and you like keeping your visitors alive, then you're gonna love this game. Super fun. This game fixes a few issues that Dinosaur Island had. If you weren't a fan of Dinosaur Island, you may want to pick up Dinosaur World. Or if you were a fan of Dinosaur Island, then Dinosaur World will be great for you too. Now number 2 on my list is Steam Up, A Feast of Dim Sum. Now huge shout out to Hot Banana Games because they did send me a review copy of this game. It is coming to Kickstarter in October. They did not pay me in any way, but they were kind enough to send me this game to review for my channel. I highly recommend you check out this game. I had a lot of fun playing it. I'll be releasing my review video closer to the Kickstarter date, but to give you an overview, it is a set collection game where you are trying to collect the most amount of dim sum. Now what's kind of cool about it is it has this turnable table where each player has their own feast zone, and you can only purchase the dim sum that's in your feast zone. So the strategy in this game is to make sure that the dim sum that you want is in your feast zone and to keep the dim sum that other players want out of their feast zone. I highly recommend, if you get a chance, to go see them at Gen Con, give it a playtest. It's a lot of fun to play. That's why it's my number 2. So my number 1 is The Hunger. Now why is it my number 1? Well, vampires, deck building, and Richard Garfield, the creator of Magic the Gathering. He just creates incredible games. He's an awesome designer. So this is a vampire deck building game for 2 to 6 players. Now early reviews say it's a lot like Clank in the aspect where you are trying to collect victory points and trying to make it back to the castle before sunrise, because we all know what happens to vampires when the sun comes up. It's similar in that way, but it's a little bit different because instead of gaining artifacts and other treasures, you are hunting humans. So you use speed in this game to move throughout the game board. The game is split into mountains, cemetery, forest, and plains. And the way you gain points in this game is you are using the speed for movement and to hunt humans, which are going to be added to your deck. And there's a card roll, so each round the cards slide over and the cards become a bit cheaper. I believe it goes 3, 2, and 1. It's similar to Clank in the way that you are still pushing your luck by going further away from the castle to gain victory points, but instead of somebody that gets out of the dungeon, you're going back to a castle. The game just ends after the 15 rounds, and whoever has the most victory points wins. It looks a lot of fun to play. That's why it's my number 1. Huge deck building fan. I'm a fan of Richard Garfield. I think he makes great games. I definitely have this one on pre-order, so I hope to give you guys a review for this game when I get my copy. Other than that, that is my top 10 games that are at Gen Con. I hope you guys enjoyed the list. If you did, give this video a like. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. It really helps the channel grow, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Take care.